Hi, my name is Allison Massey, registered dietitian and certified diabetes care and education specialist. Today, I'm here to talk about how you can make an easy, simple, plant-based side salad or even a main course with a few simple ingredients. This recipe is totally Mediterranean inspired, but you can swap out the ingredients that you prefer to make this truly your own recipe, if you will. I'm not following a set recipe, I'm just throwing together certain things, and that's what I want to encourage you to do. I want to inspire you to kind of take these ideas and make them your own. So we're going to start out with chickpeas. These could be subbed out for any beans that you enjoy. You could also use something like edamame if you prefer that. You can find it shelled in the frozen food section, which would be a great option. So remember, beans are a fantastic source of fiber. For those that like beans, I encourage you to eat beans at least 2 to 3 times a week, just because all that fiber, and it's a great plant-based protein and wonderful to include regularly in your diet. These chickpeas were canned, so I just rinsed them in a colander and it cut the salt by about 40%. So that's how I'm going to get started. Next up, I'm going to add some delicious, crunchy cucumbers. So all of the ingredients I'm adding are kind of inspired by a Greek salad. So I've got my cucumbers. I love cucumbers. So this is probably about 1.5 cups of cucumbers that I'm adding in here with my chickpeas. They add a nice crisp crunch that I just love. And the one thing to think about is this salad actually has no leafy greens. So sometimes when we think about salads, we get stuck thinking all salads have leafy greens. And although those are nutritious for us, we all get kind of sick of them sometimes. So it's nice to have some other salads that you can make for yourself, whether it's for lunch or a quick dinner side that don't include leafy greens at times. Next up are some kind of cherry tomatoes. So again, this is probably about a cup, roughly a little over a cup of the cherry tomatoes. I just cut those in half because I wanted everything to be roughly the same size. So that when you take a bite, you can kind of get all the different flavor components in the salad. So far I've got chickpeas, I have my cucumbers and my cherry tomatoes in here. I'm gonna add a few other components. Red onion. You could leave out the onion. You could use spring onions. This is probably about 1/2 cup. I do love onion, but it can be a bit overpowering at times, so I didn't want to do too much, but just add a little bit to kind of punch up the flavor. So the more color, the better. That's why I like to use all different colors of produce in my salad. And the next thing we're gonna do to add some additional color is I'm gonna add a bell pepper. So just a tip for when you cut your bell peppers, this is how I like to do mine so I don't waste any of the bell pepper. I am just gonna slice the top off like a little hat, and I'm gonna pull out obviously the center. It makes it really easy when you do it this way, and remove all the seeds because we definitely don't want those in our salad. Now the hat part, I'm not going to waste that. I'm actually going to show you how I take the stem out easily so that I can cut up every single bit of this delicious bell pepper to add it to my salad. So sometimes I can pop this middle stem out pretty easily. This one, I can tell already, I'm not going to necessarily be able to pop it out as easily. Sometimes I just kind of pull around the little stem and I'm able to kind of pull every little bit of the bell pepper, and I'm just winding it around. So you can see right here, I've got the whole outer edge of my pepper. Peppers are great to keep in your refrigerator for lots of different reasons. Of course, they're really good in salads, like I'm adding them to my salad right now. But you can also do stuffed peppers, which is a super simple dish that you can make at home for dinner or lunch. You can stuff them with obviously a mixture of things like rice, beans, quinoa, obviously different lean types of meat, like with a ground chicken or maybe a ground turkey if you like something like that. But I always say kind of keep a variety of colors of the peppers too. They do have different slightly different kind of flavor profiles, so they work nicely in different types of recipes, I would say. And I always like to keep, just when I think about produce and grocery shopping, I like to keep different colors. So when it comes to kind of dark orange, dark red produce, so think of things like my beautiful bell pepper here and sweet potatoes. You know, we really kind of want to include those in our eating pattern at least 2 to 3 times a week. So, you know, I mentioned the beans. So beans, of course, is 2 to 3 times a week. Our kind of dark orange produce is at minimum 2 to 3 times a week as well. So think about that as you're thinking about putting together your grocery list and what you need. The nice thing too is now we're using a fresh pepper in this recipe because, of course, it provides that delicious crunch along with some of the other fresh vegetables that I'm adding. But they often sell, you know, peppers frozen too. And that's a good option for, you know, sauteing, and you can have those with eggs. You could saute those and add those to things like chili or even different types of soup. So I just did a rough chop on my pepper here just to kind of get this ingredient in there. So now it makes a lot. So I'll show you this in a minute. I'll hold it up to the camera, but it makes a beautiful dish. By the time you add everything together, you could definitely take this to a party. It's a beautiful colored salad. Now, a couple other things. So I'm going to add olives to this. So these are pitted Kalamata olives. And believe it or not, I bought these olives at the Dollar Tree. So the Dollar Tree is a fantastic place to find some, you know, kind of even some higher end groceries that you can add to various dishes at home. These were much less expensive than they would be in the grocery store, and they're really delicious. So I saw those and I snagged them. I also rinsed them under the sink, so you can certainly do that with your olives. And I'm adding feta cheese. You could add crumbled goat cheese, would be delicious here. You could leave the dairy out. So if you don't include cheese in your diet, whether that's for health reasons or because you have, you know, an intolerance to different dairy types of foods, you don't have to include this, but I do think it adds a little bit of flavor. So right now our salad's looking really nice. So I'm gonna add a dressing now. So we're just gonna do a simple homemade olive and vinegar dressing with a little bit of salt and pepper and some Italian seasoning mixed in. So making homemade dressings is not hard at all. You really, I usually do, you know, about 3 tablespoons of olive oil to about 1 tablespoon. In this case, I'm just going to use a white vinegar oil, but you could use whatever you have on hand. And again, you can see I'm kind of eyeballing this. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of black pepper. So I've got my black pepper grinder here. So I'm just going to do a couple grinds. I do like pepper, so I'm going to add quite a bit of that. I am going to add just a pinch of salt because I do think it enhances the dressing flavor just a little bit. And you could leave that out. Again, if you're very sensitive to sodium, if you need to kind of restrict sodium because of health reasons. And then I've got, so in my case, I have my Italian herbs are in a grinder here. So I'm just grinding up some different mix. You could add pretty much whatever you have on hand. Garlic would also be good in this. You could do fresh garlic if you wanted to, like a garlic press. So I'm just going to mix up my dressing, and then I'm going to drizzle it over top and stir it, and we'll be good to go. So if you don't have one of these like lovely little salad dressing containers, makers, shakers, whatever you want to call them, they're great to have on hand. So you can actually make your dressing in this and then store it in here and pour it. So they do come in handy. And I'm just going to start with kind of the quantity I made, I believe is perfect for the quantity of vegetables here. So we've got our chickpeas, which are providing our protein, loads of different vegetables, healthy fat with the olives, and lots of good flavor between a little bit of feta cheese and the onion. So this is, again, simple, delicious, easy chickpea Greek salad. I will include the recipe ingredients in a PDF book for you so you can make this at home. I hope this inspires you to get in the kitchen and make something simple and delicious, and don't forget about the nutritious part today. So until next time, this is Allison.